Hi, Cutie Pies. It is Lanickia, and I am coming to you with this episode of General Hospital, season. Hey, Mama. Hey, season 59, episode 117. Y'all, I have tried to make this video 3 times. This is the fourth time. This is the fourth time. If it doesn't work this time, I'm just gonna see y'all tomorrow. Listen, um, I'm so discombobulated. I don't even know where to start. Oh, Elizabeth. Okay, girl. So Elizabeth sees the painting. She goes in and she sees the painting. So this is gonna be a real fast video. It was a good episode. It wasn't great, but it wasn't, a filler episode. I mean, it was just a good episode. It was solid. It's solid. Every episode is not gonna be, ooh, where is it at? But it was a solid episode. Oh, y'all don't like Nina. I went on their Instagram and I was like, Team Nina. Ooh, y'all don't like Nina. But anyways, so Elizabeth goes in and she sees the painting, right, of herself, the portrait, and she's like, what's going on here? Because that is a portrait that was in the studio that should have been burnt up. How is this even possible? How is this happening? And we find, oh, okay. We find out that Cameron has came home, and he was like, yeah, it was there when I came in about 10 minutes ago. And she was like, I was not here. I didn't put this up. So no one was in the house in the last 24 hours. So they're like, what's going on? No one was here to be able to do this. So she calls the police, which is Dante. He comes over. I don't know why I'd be expecting somebody else, but it's Dante. So he comes over, and everything. And then she calls Finn as well. Now, Finn is with Chase because he's explaining to Chase everything that's been going on with Elizabeth. And Chase is ready to jump into action. And Finn was like, listen, I'm just talking. Like, I don't want you to do anything. You're still suspended. But so he's with Chase when he gets the phone call. And Chase is wanting to jump right over because he was like, maybe we could pull the video footage to see who was around Elizabeth Locker at that time, which is good advice, y'all. I should listen to that so then we could know if it's Elizabeth, if it's Betsy, or if it's Cameron. Because Cameron was acting really weird on this episode. I was like, every time they said, do you think your boys could be involved? She was like, no, I don't think so. And Dante was like, well, we'll keep it low just in case one of them is involved. And they would always show Cameron. And then, like, when Finn offered to spend the night because Elizabeth, is worried to stay at home by herself with somebody being in there, it was the way Cameron was like, that's settled then. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Y'all tell me. But at the end of the day, they're just suspicious of what's going on, and she did let them know she thinks it's Betsy, and they were like, it is kind of weird, so they're gonna look into it. All right. Then we see Michael and Willow meet up. I'm saying them because I'm going to wrap up Chase. So then we see Michael and Willow meet up because she forgot her tablet or something and she needs it because all her notes are in there and she has a big exam coming up. So they're talking or whatever, and she brings up Nina and she says how she feels like Nina used her because Nina was making this big play to get close to her and, and everything. But she didn't tell her that she had been intimate with Sonny. She was like, no wonder she was telling me that she and Carly could not, see eye to eye. And so Michael was just like, Willow is done with Nina. She's wanting to cut her out. And Michael was like, I think we're speaking out of emotions. We need to just step back and really look at this. And I agree with Michael on that because you can't just cut Nina out of Wiley's life because you're mad that she slept with Sonny. And you guys like Carly. Yeah, I mean, I get it. That's your mother-in-law, and that's Michael's mom, but that's Nina's grandson by blood as well. So you can't just cut her out of the life. And so I think Michael sees it as like that as well. And he also says, like, my father had something to do with this too. Like, Nina's not the only one that should carry the blame in this. So anyways, there is that. So he tells her, then they start talking about Brooklyn and Chase and how, dang, they were wrong jumping all over Chase and Brooklyn because Willow got her little feelings hurt when she found out he had been with Brooklyn, or she thought. And they feel like they owe them an apology. So she was like, yeah, we do. She said, I can't go now, but okay. So she says, I feel like we can't go now, but let's but he said I could go ahead and go. So he goes ahead and he says, I'm gonna go ahead and go over, and just talk to Michael and apologize, Michael in Brooklyn, and apologize. And so he does. He goes over and sees, I said Michael in Brooklyn, Chase in Brooklyn, and apologize. So Michael goes over to see Chase, and he does apologize. He has to, I don't know what he was expecting. Like, you were wrong. So he goes over, and Chase is like, listen, sir, I'm real busy. Brooklyn's not here. She went to see her mama and everything. And he's like, Michael is just like, I know you're frustrated. Just take some of that frustration out on me. Because Chase was pretty much dismissing him, and he was telling Michael, you just want me to make you feel better because you feel guilty. And Michael says, I'm not gonna lie, when we found out you and Brooklyn had been together, it did take away some of that guilt. Like, I didn't feel it, I didn't feel as guilty, because it was like, oh, okay, we're kind of like not even, but and Chase was like, yeah, we didn't actually sleep together or whatever. And, Michael was like, yeah, I know you were doing it just to keep Bailey safe. And everything. And he was like, Mike, and then, but he did tell Michael, you had no right to try to dig into me because Willow got her feelings hurt when y'all were sleeping with each other behind my back and lying to me about it. That was my wife. And then he said, and then y'all lied about it and everything, and then tried to pass judgment on us. And Michael was like, I'm sorry, you're right, we were wrong for that. And that's just pretty much how it was. He did end up forgiving Michael, because he was like, I understand Willow, why the real reason Willow was with me, which was more for pity, and he was like, I just wish y'all hadn't lied about it, like, just been honest. And they do say, like, we mean good, but to not hurt someone's feelings, we lie, which is actually ends up hurting them more. So, it is what it is when it comes to that. They're cool. They're not, I don't think they're going to be like hanging buddies, but they're cool and everything. But they might, you never know. This soap opera, like, look at Ava and Nina. But anyways, so then that wraps up Michael and Chase for the episode, as well as Elizabeth, Finn, and Drew. Not Drew, Elizabeth, Finn, and Cameron. So now with Willow and Nina. So Willow and Nina talk, right? Because Willow is like, Nina wants to talk to Willow because she wants more to see Wally this coming up Saturday. And Willow was like, girl, please, you're not going to see him or whatever, because you used me. You lied to me. A lie of omission is still a lie about what went on with you and Sonny. And she said, oh, I should have known you would find that out. She said, but honestly, that don't have nothing to do with Wiley. Yes, I was wrong, and I didn't mean for that to happen, but that doesn't have anything to do. And Willow was just going in on her like, how many times can you say that? Yada, yada, yada. And she's just going in on her. And Nina's just like, okay, I apologize. I'm sorry. But I still want, to see Wiley. And I would like you as an ally to do that. And what do you know where Michael's headed? Now, to me, Nina should have went to Michael and not Willow. Okay, but because Willow is like done with her, and she's like, we're gonna have to wait till things settle down. So this Saturday is a no-go. Pretty much that's what she's telling her. And Nina was like, excuse me, no, that's not gonna happen, because that's my family. He's my only connection to my daughter. He's blood. And Willow is like, blood doesn't mean entitlement. But Nina is like, but blood does mean he's blood, and that means I have rights as a grandparent. Now, I've been nice, and I have not enforced my rights, because I want to work this out amongst each other. But if you try to stop me from seeing my grandson, then we're going to have some problems, and I will enforce those rights. And that's how she left Willow. And honestly, I know people don't like Willow because, I see it. But I mean, Nina, not Willow. But I get tired of all these people like coming up and feeling like they could just read Nina for filth because of what she's doing with Sonny. Like, it was Drew yesterday, now today it's Willow or whatever. Now, Nina causes this herself. I'm objective. I could like the character and still be like, but girl, you be causing it yourself. But I feel like she's the easy scapegoat for all of this. And there's people on this soap, that because we're supposed to like them, it's like we overlook their transgressions, and but we don't for other people. And that's the only issue that I have, like, with watching soap sometimes, that I have to take a break, because I'm like, oh my gosh, like, some people can get away with saying and doing anything and others cannot, and I don't like that part of it. But I mean, Willow said what she said, Nina said what she said, and that was the end of them. So then we see Curtis. Now, before Nina went and saw Willow, she was still at Charlie's, and Curtis and Stella came in, and she talked to them or whatever. And he was asking Nina about Sonny, and she deflected and was asking him about his dad, which Stella overheard. And she was like, what about Marshall? I thought you was gonna let that go or whatever. And then Nina got a phone call. Nina had to go to work or whatever. But I was like, girl, you've been saying you had to go to work for a minute. You haven't made it to work yet. But anyways, so Curtis and Stella talk, and even when Nina was there, he said he needs more information on Portia, and Nina congratulated him on moving in with Portia and Trina and all that. But he's like, I need to be able to keep them safe. I need to know what he's been up to. Like, who are these guys that could be possibly after him and everything. And he's been trying to get the information from Marshall, but Curtis can't get the information from Marshall because he's not telling. And so he let Stella know that he did have Drew looking into it for him. And Stella becomes upset because she said, I don't think that's the way to go. What I think you should do is just talk to him. He's like, listen, I've tried to talk to him. But and I'm just like, Stella, what are you doing? Like, because you was telling Portia, look out for Curtis. Curtis is looking out for himself, and he's not all, okay, that's my dad, and I'm just going to walk into this blind. I don't understand. I didn't understand that. Like, but okay. So he just lets her know, I need to find out what's more that's going on. And she did eventually convince him to don't go behind his back and find out, try to dig, go be more direct with him and let him know what's going on and the issues you're having and everything. And he did agree to that. So then we see that, excuse me. So then we see that, hey girl. So then we see Drew. So Sam and Drew had talked earlier, and it was nothing. I don't even remember the conversation. What did they talk about earlier? Oh, the company. He knows Michael has been over a portion of the company, but he would like to step in. And Sam said, it's still your company. You can do whatever you want to do. And he was like, okay, cool. So Drew was going to have more of a role in the company. And so with that, he was trying to interview Curtis for this jazz, because he says he doesn't know much about music and jazz, and he would love somebody to be his advisor on that and everything. And so, did I say Curtis? I meant Marshall. So Marshall was like, oh, okay. So it was a job interview. But then Marshall was like, oh, my son put you up to this. I don't need charity or whatever. And Drew was just like, listen, I need this position filled. You need a job and you have the expertise on it. So I actually need you. And yes, your son told me about you, but I still need someone, and he's just looking out for you. So Marshall sat back down, got out of his feelings, and everything was going good. And it looked like he was going to be like, yeah, I'll take this job, until Drew talked about, we have to do an extensive background check. And I'm like, sir, why didn't you let the man come into the building and then hand him the paperwork over the background? Like, what are you doing? But, it's the soaps, y'all. So, but anyways, Marshall said, yeah, I'm out. Peace. And he got up and left. He said, nah, I'm cool on this job. It sounded like this would be too much. It would take away from me playing and my gigs and all that. So he left. So then Drew calls Curtis, and he lets him know that, he didn't agree to the background check, which makes Curtis even more worried. So then there's that. Child, who I got next? Okay, we done did this. Cameron, Elizabeth, I done did it. Okay, y'all. So then we go to Carly and Olivia are talking, and they are, just talking about Sonny, and Olivia's like, just keep your head up. You have support. And then Sam comes up, and Olivia has scheduled them to an axe throwing class. So they do this axe throwing class and everything, y'all. And they have fun. They're drinking beer. They're having girl time. They're doing all of that. And then, so Carly says, I want to get revenge on Nina. And Olivia and Sam are like, no, no, no. Let it go, Carly. Karma is going to get Nina. And so just let it go and move on with your life. And at first Carly was like, but then, she came around. She was like, you know what? This is a fresh start. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to move on. And so she says, I'm going to throw this axe, and that, I'm going to be done with Nina and Sunny. And she throws it in, and like, that's how her way of saying, yeah, there wasn't much to this episode. I mean, it was a good episode. It was just a solid episode. But yeah, that was the end of it. I'm here. I want to see how this is going to play out with Wiley, because I understand them being upset, but I do agree with Michael. Like, they're thinking about emotions, and you're thinking about, oh my gosh, you hurt Carly and Sonny, you broke up their marriage. But at the end of the day, that doesn't have anything to do with Wiley, her relationship with Wiley and everything. So, I mean, you can't keep her from seeing her biological grandson because of that. But I think Nina has to start being more truthful. God, like, girl, I be trying to ride with you, but you be lying too much. Like, you got to be more truthful, girl. And then Elizabeth, I don't know if this girl has a split personality. I don't know if it's Betsy. I don't know if it's Cameron. I don't know what's going on here, but we're going to see. We're going to see. And maybe it's nothing with Cameron, but I just felt like if you watch the episode, it was weird. It was just weird how they kept saying stuff, and then they would go to him, like show him. So I don't know. We'll see about that. I like Curtis. You know what? I said, like, I think it's a little bit, they could be, I like them, but they could be a little bit on the boring side to me. But this episode was pretty good. It wasn't, but I don't know. We'll see what's going on with his dad, Marshall, because I don't know. He coming across real shady. But all right, y'all, that's the episode of General Hospital. I will see you tomorrow for another episode.